Although the individual nirvana seeker is a step above the person who just lives self-indulgently and mindlessly seeking the next short-term pleasure, and being ever unsatisfied and living and dying basically at the same evolutionary level that they were born, dying in the same way, and therefore wasting that human opportunity. At least the individual nirvana seeker wants nirvana. At least they want to achieve true liberation from suffering. That is a higher step. But there is a mistake from the point of view of the majority of Buddhist teachers throughout history, actually. And that is, the mistake is a metaphysical one, actually, or a cosmological one, or having to do with the world picture. And that is the naivete of thinking that nirvana is a state of bliss or freedom from suffering outside of the relative world. That, in other words, that there's an absolute somewhere else than the relative. And that's actually a very simplistic mistake. Don't you think? I mean, you can think it through very easily. I mean, you could get very freaked out looking and puzzled when you're absolute and relative, and you think, oh no, they're going to have to read Hegel or something, which of course is a nightmare to have to do, or Kant, although it can be rewarding to some extent. But just the syntax is so awful. But you don't have to make it so complicated. Absolute means non-relational, by definition, right? It's the opposite of relative, right? So therefore, something that's absolute, we have a tendency to seek something like that as a sort of lasting, true thing, because it's not relational, it's not made up of parts, it cannot be destroyed, it's not made of things, it's absolute. So we think that would really be secure, right? But how then could it be elsewhere from the relative? Because if it is in a place and is not in another place, it cannot be absolute. It becomes relational, right? The absolute is not here, so therefore it's not absolute. Do you follow me?
No.
It's like, it would be like saying, and we think that way too. We don't think we're in infinity. Nobody around here is like, what do you mean? We're in 22 West 15th Street in Tibet House in the evening. We're not in infinity. The infinity is out there someplace, past the last star, after the Big Bang or whatever. I mean, that's how we sort of think. Infinity is some other place. But obviously infinity has to be here, right? Because it can't be limited. Infinity is a kind of synonym of absolute. It's both are negations. Absolute. Absolute means to mix in with things. Can't be mixed with anything. Absolute. Infinity without limit. In means non-finite, meaning non-limited, non-bounded. So the same. So infinity has to be here, right? So in a way, we're in a finite realm from a star looking like this. On the other hand, we're just shot through and through with infinity. Right now. Don't you think? Do you feel infinite? You do, you see. No, you can't really feel it. The infinite part of yourself feels infinite. But your relative part can't really feel infinite, except by a negation, by not really attaching to the boundary. So being aware that this is infinity could make us more relaxed about our perceptions of finitude, habitual perceptions of infinitude. That's how it would work. To think that I perceived infinity, that's of course nonsense. Again, if it's something you perceive now but you didn't before, then that's not infinity. Infinity is the kind of thing that when you open to being aware of it, you realize you're always aware of it, and you always have been aware of it. Isn't that so? Because even you were feeling trapped in a mouse cage, you were in the infinite. The cage is in the infinite, right? Infinite is everywhere. So, therefore, they made that mistake of thinking that the absolute nirvana is elsewhere. And therefore, they want to get themselves out of this miserable situation of being dissatisfied as one egocentric being versus all the others. And so they want to get out of here to a place where that situation does not obtain. And I'm happy to annihilate my ego to do it, because then I have eternal bliss. But that's a mistake. When you easily realize that mistake, which the Bodhisattva-oriented type person easily realizes, or even a person who's basically logical easily realizes it, even though it's emotionally difficult to live with that realization. For a person who feels very self-centered and very shut off in themselves and therefore very frightened of the world. And they feel like there's a real place inside themselves that they would like to retreat to. Don't bother me, leave me alone, you know. It leads to autism and states like that, you know, where you can't acknowledge any communication with anybody, you know. Solipsism of extreme psychological type. And that type of person, even though emotionally they can understand that this has to be infinite, then they'll say, well, that's just a word game. But really, oh, Buddha said there was a nirvana that's outside of this suffering. I want to go there. And they are projecting a reified picture of their own feeling, of their own inner state, of some isolated place, into some isolated place. And they're basically going to terminal self-withdrawal, actually. You know what I'm saying? Can you understand that? And emotionally, you can't stop them. So Buddha said, go ahead. Take your nirvana by yourself. Bye. Bye. Because what happens is by the way he guided them toward it and planting little hints that really there's no such duality between absolute and relative. I mean, or rather that duality is only within the relative. Then they would eventually realize they would get more strong where they could bear the reality of the teaching, which is we're all in it together forever, and we're going to have our nirvana together, or we're not going to have a nirvana. So no bye. No bye. Hello. You think you're done with me after next week or after 9 o'clock? No. We'll be here next life. We'll be here next semester, next year, forever. And actually, I think so too. I think I'll get rid of you, but no, next time I'll be in your lecture. I'll be some kind of like car racing driver or something, and you'll have that studied, and then you'll be giving me a lecture. And we've already done that millions of times with each other. You all gave me the lectures. Now you're like, but you all gave the lecture before. And then neither of us understood it that well, and here we are struggling along. And I don't even understand it that well. I learn more every time I talk to you. There's even a great meditation for Buddhist teachers that I like. It's a tantric one. It's where the teacher is supposed to visualize that every other being is already enlightened. Either a Vajrasattva or Vajrayogini or something is a fully enlightened being. But they're surrounding you and looking at you to teach them because you are so egotistical, you only listen to your own voice. And they're like saying, we need to know, but they already do know. And you're the only ignorant one in the room. And you're desperately trying to explain. They keep pretending, oh, we're asking questions. And really, they're questions that you need to know the answer of. And so you're really teaching yourself. And they already know. And you're the last one to know. I think that's really great. If you see some of my colleagues, or some lamas, or some roshis, or some like gurus, big enlightened. They have the disease, what they call the Zen people call it. Tibet is also the hip one. It is a total disease to go around thinking you're enlightened. If you hear of anybody who proclaims that they're enlightened, you should feel sorry for them. No, it's a disease. It's a terrible cross to bear that. It really is terrible. I almost got like sick with that disease, but I was lucky enough to have a good wife who told me I was full of it. And continues to do so, actually. And that's a big help. If you don't blow your top and freak out and jump out the window and run off trying to find some palliative, it's a big help to have someone holding up a mirror to you and showing you your like faults and things. Very, very useful.